So we've all heard the promise of Ethereum, right? This new decentralized internet. But let's be honest, actually using it can sometimes feel like you're stuck in digital traffic. So how do we get to that future faster? Well, let's dive into one of the key solutions making that happen right now, optimistic rollups. I mean, if you've ever tried to send some ETH or mint an NFT or use a DeFi app on a really busy day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You hit send, you wait, and the fee is just, wow, surprisingly high. It's a super common experience, and it really points to a fundamental challenge. And here's the reason why. The main Ethereum network, the base layer, can only handle about 15 to 30 transactions per second. That's it. Now, to put that in perspective, a company like Visa handles thousands per second. So for a global computer, yeah, that's a pretty serious bottleneck. And what happens is this simple but kind of painful chain reaction. Ethereum's huge success brings in tons of new users, which is great, but that clogs up the network. It's just like a traffic jam on a highway. And that congestion leads to this bidding war for space, which drives up the price, the gas fees, for everybody. Okay, so that right there is the core of Ethereum's scaling problem. But the solution isn't to just rebuild the entire main highway. Instead, developers got clever and built a super fast express lane right on top of it. And this is the world of Layer 2 solutions. Now, the leading type of Layer 2 solution is something called a rollup. And the concept? It's genius in its simplicity. It takes hundreds, maybe even thousands of transactions and processes them off the main Ethereum chain, where things are way faster and cheaper. Then it bundles, or rolls up, all the results into one single neat package that gets posted back to Ethereum. And this really shows you the difference it makes. Trying to do anything directly on Ethereum or Layer 1 can be slow and really expensive. But when you use a rollup, a Layer 2, you get an experience that's incredibly fast and so much cheaper, all while still getting the rock-solid security of Ethereum itself. Okay, so there are a few ways to build these rollups, which brings us to the main event, the optimistic solution. So what makes it so optimistic? Well, it's all in the philosophy. It's this idea of trust first, verify later. This is the core idea right here. Instead of using a ton of heavy computation to prove that every single batch of transactions is valid before accepting it, optimistic rollups do the opposite. They take a trust-first approach. They just optimistically assume every transaction is valid by default. But how does that trust actually work without things going wrong? Well, after a batch of transactions is posted, it enters what's called a challenge period. This is basically a window of time. It's often about a week where anyone can check the work. And if nobody challenges it, the transactions are just accepted as final on Ethereum. Simple as that. And this is the immediate question, isn't it? If the system just trusts everyone by default, what stops a bad actor from just submitting a bogus transaction? Like paying themselves $1 million out of thin air. Well, that's where the verify later part really kicks in. You see, this is the security backbone of the whole system. It's a really clever mix of a verification mechanism and some powerful economic incentives. It's what proves that being optimistic doesn't mean you're being naive. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a teacher collects a huge stack of exams. Instead of grading every single one right away, she just posts the results and says, hey everyone, if you spot any cheating, let me know within a week. If nobody speaks up, the grades become final. It's super efficient, but it's still secure. So this is where something called a fraud proof comes into play. If someone watching the network, a watcher, spots a shady transaction, they can submit this proof to Ethereum. It's basically a piece of cryptographic evidence that points out the exact error. It's the ultimate safety net. And here's the magic that makes it all work. It's not just about people being nice. It's about powerful economic incentives. The watchers who successfully report fraud, they get a huge financial reward. And the person who tried to cheat, they don't just get their transaction reversed, they get severely penalized and lose a large deposit they had to stake. It makes cheating a really, really bad and expensive idea. Now, it's worth pointing out that optimistic rollups aren't the only game in town. Their main alternative is something called ZK rollups, which use really complex math to verify everything up front. So you could say optimistic rollups are innocent until proven guilty, while ZK rollups are more like guilty until proven innocent. And this leads to different trade-offs, especially when it comes to how fast you can get your funds back out. So what's the verdict on this whole thing? What does it really mean for the future of Ethereum? Well, the strengths are pretty obvious. You get these massive fee reductions, almost instant transactions, and this is a big one for developers, they're EVM compatible, which makes it super easy to move existing Ethereum apps over. On the flip side, the main limitations really come from that challenge period, which means withdrawal delays. And of course, the whole system relies on having honest watchers to spot any fraud. And really, this is the key trade-off for you as a user. Your day-to-day transactions are incredibly fast and cheap. But when you want to move your money back to the main Ethereum network, you have to wait for that challenge period to end, which can be several days. But think about it. For most things like gaming or trading, you rarely need to withdraw instantly. So users get this huge performance boost for 99% of their activity in exchange for a delay on the rare occasion they cash out. It's the trade-off that makes Ethereum usable today. But make no mistake, this isn't just some theory for the future. This tech is live, and it's powering some of the biggest applications in crypto right now. Major DeFi exchanges, NFT platforms, and tons of blockchain games all rely on optimistic rollups like Arbitrum and Optimism to make their apps usable for millions of people. And this quote really says it all. The core Ethereum developers have totally embraced a rollup-centric roadmap. They see Layer 1, the mainnet, as the ultimate foundation for security, while Layer 2s, like optimistic rollups, are where all the action is going to happen. They are absolutely fundamental to Ethereum's plan to scale for the whole world. Which leaves us with this final, really exciting question. For years, the whole conversation was just dominated by high fees and slow speeds. But now that we have a clear path to making Ethereum fast and affordable for everyone, the question totally changes. The bottleneck isn't the technology anymore, it's our imagination.